Please stand back from the automated door and wait for the security officer to verify your identity. Before exiting the train, be sure to check your area for personal belongings.
Funny to see you here. Hey guys, RIINCHU here, your favorite yearly YouTuber. Half-Life has become a game that I enjoy. Trust me, I love the game, but I already sealed my fate when I chose the hardest difficulty at the start. Besides me thinking I could girl boss through it without any struggle, I love the level design, and with the lovely graphics and all the different ways and options you have when it comes to combat. Whoa, okay, that was an explosive. Now, if you saw my last video and watched to the end, you're probably thinking, this isn't Katana Zero. I'll talk about that later. Half-Life is a game I really enjoyed, but when I start talking about my experience, it might seem like I hate the game. I of course have heard about Half-Life before. I mean, how couldn't I? I have been chronically online, I have played Gmod and Team Fortress, and I'm a fan of Valve games. No, not you. I honestly didn't know much about the lore or really how the game played before I went into the game. But other than that, I literally was going in blind, even though the game is like 25 years old. We play as Gordon Freeman. Gordon is a scientist, born to fuck with microwaves and hit vents and any surface he comes across, but forced to fit into society. Gordon Freeman has a nice selection of weapons that we obtain throughout the game. Some really good, some I thought was okay, and some I hated. Starting off with the crowbar. The crowbar is the first and only melee weapon you get in the game, and it's the one you rely on for the start. It does okay damage, but let's be honest, that's not what you're using it for. The only thing the crowbar is good for, other than giving your enemies head trauma, is hitting literally anything else, like vents. Or unless you're me, who will see a vent not knowing I can break it and proceed to roam around half an hour because I have no idea what to do. I think the game is a 10 out of 10, but I'll retract the point just because there's no yellow paint to guide me. But as you can see, having a crowbar is not going to be optimal the further we get into the game. We need better weapons. The other weapons, while being pretty standard, are very common in a lot of other games. Like, for example, you have your pistol, then we have the shotgun, which is really good, able to one-shot enemies if you hit their weak spots, and then finally we got the submachine gun, a great weapon to quickly gun down your enemies, and with its alt-fire, good at blowing shit up. These are the more basic weapons in the game, but I'd like to put some more focus on some of the other weapons. Next, we have the Magnum. Please listen. I know it's technically a basic weapon, but please listen. The Magnum, in my opinion, is the best weapon in the game. It one-shots most enemies and by far helped me throughout the game the most. I'd also say the reason I didn't have much ammo is pretty self-explanatory. The crossbow is actually a pretty nice weapon, but getting it was terrifying. Having to be lowered into murky waters and then have to fight this thing was intense. I swear on my life I was hitting these shots and it just didn't die. I fucking hate this fish. Crossbow, like the Magnum, was also a weapon I really enjoyed using. Seriously, I used it a lot, and since it could take down some of the strongest enemies in 3 hits. And it also had the privileges of shooting underwater. I mean, technically the pistol can also shoot underwater, but it's doo-doo, so I only used it in emergencies. The rocket, great weapon. I absolutely love blowing shit up. But not gonna lie, it took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out that this rocket is the same base rocket you use in Gmod. Still a very good weapon though, and one that I sometimes was scared of using because I had a feeling I'd blow myself up. Next up, I'd like to talk about the Tau Cannon and the Gluon Gun. Both really good weapons. They do high amounts of damage, but ammo is very limited and gets used very fast. Really great weapons, but also ear-shattering. Next, we have the Hornet Gun. The Hornet Gun is very interesting. It fires, well, hornets, which sounds evil. It has an ammo capacity of 8 and is also the only gun that doesn't require ammo since it replenishes itself. Oh, and also the hornets are homing and will find you. While having all of these weapons, we also have disposable weapons. Like, for example, we have a grenade, laser mine trip setup, and a satchel charge. But by far the most interesting disposable weapon is the Snark. The Snark is such a weird weapon. It's so funny throwing this little creature at enemies and see how they completely freak out. A weird thing they also do is that they spontaneously explode every 20 seconds. Snark, my beloved. Now that I've explained a bit about the weapons and so on, I would like to talk about the best thing about this game. This is why I had to rewrite the script 3 times. But besides that, Man, I love and despise the levels in this game. The game is split into 18 different chapters, so I'll split this section into 3 parts. Underground,
Life.
Surface, and Zen. I'll also sprinkle some boss fights in between. The level design and enemies are really well made and super unique. Let's kick this off with the underground. The underground facility is massive. The underground spans over 8 chapters, all filled to the brim with enemies and annoying parkour. I think it's just me not being used to valve controls, but oh my god, I felt like I was moving on ice all the goddamn time. I think half of my deaths in the game is me trying to parkour and falling to my demise. But as I said, there are so many cool things to explore here. Some places that definitely violate OSHA, and toxic waste my favorite. And of course, we can't forget about the much needed water levels with dangerous fish and maggots. Speaking of fish, it appears again in a parkour level that in my opinion was genuinely the scariest thing I had to experience in the game. But one thing that never happened was me having 100 HP. I think it was very rare that I was even above 65 HP. Under the map, you can find these healing and armor stations. And oh my god, these were like crack. Having low HP and then finding an HP station gave me a little hope that I would be okay. But let me talk about the level and enemies, since I'd say these are very close intertwined. For example, while exploring, you can clearly see that a zombie will come out of this wall and Jesus! You scared me, man. Phew. That was a kind of cool flip though. I feel like I need to talk about and really highlight the NPC interactions. Oh my god, some of them were so funny. Some of the NPCs you come across you can recruit, such as scientists and guards to help you around the lab. The guards can help you gun down enemies, which really comes in handy sometimes. Or not. Fuck him! The scientists can heal you when you are low and either die a horrible death or cower away. Anyways, let's talk about something else. The enemies. There are a lot of unique enemies you encounter. We have headcrabs, zombies, hound dogs, pulp squids, barnacles, vortigons, grunts, and alien grunts. All of these enemies suck. Headcrabs were always so difficult for me, since they would jump at you like a wild hound, even more than the actual dog. The actual dogs would just shake violently and emit ultrasonic shockwaves. And also, don't get me started on this level. Then we have the grunts. They just do so much damage, and also being equipped with explosives was terrifying. This particular section in the surface I was fighting for my life, and oh my god, it took me so long to kill them. Then I found out that this section was completely skippable and I wasted all my resources on nothing. All of the other enemies were decently manageable, but I still didn't like them. I'll be talking about more enemies the further we get into the video, but I think they deserve a little bit more screen time. Let's talk about some bosses. Getting further into underground, we hear this loud banging on the walls. Underground, we see this man who is clearly dying. He tells us about a mission that we need to do to stop the monster that lurks further inside. I mean, that is what he said, but I literally could not hear him. But after that, we finally see it. Our first boss of the underground. The Tentacle. The Tentacle is such an annoying boss. It can't see, but it could hear, and sometimes I forget to crouch. To be able to get the Tentacle to not notice you, you would have to throw grenades across the room and quickly climb down the ladders to make sure it doesn't aggro on you. While climbing up and down the ladders, we need to find 3 switches so that we can activate a beam to kill the Tentacle. Easier said than done. I swear to god, if there isn't any indication on where I have to go, I will just get lost. Like a moth that flocks to a flame, I'm a game journalist that flocks to yellow paint. For example, I got stuck on this puzzle for an hour because I didn't look up. But after me running around like a headless chicken, activating the necessary switches for the laser beam, we can finally head back up and defeat the Tentacle. After defeating the Tentacle, we honestly have to face the most terrifying enemy in the game. We have to redirect this train to pass this horrifying creature. Being over 6 meters tall, super fast, and having a literal flame attack, it's safe to say that this guy sucks. I literally had to look up a guide on how to pass this. It didn't help either that my friend was like, think what Gordon would do in a situation like this, and you will have an easier time solving puzzles. After turning some random things on, and luring the Gargantua into 20,000 volts, we can finally move on to the next part. I'll be short about this section. On-rail sucked. The rail system itself wasn't the problem. The puzzle solving wasn't even the problem, even though I'm bad at that. The problem was the enemies. There were guards everywhere. I literally couldn't catch a break. At least 30 minutes of my footage from this section was on this staircase. God, this staircase made me so mad. It didn't make this section much better, since this chapter was one of them where I really struggled with HP. But there were so many funny moments. What the f- Even though I struggled multiple hours, I finally made it out, crashed the vehicle, Had to go through some water levels and even more puzzles I hated. I was finally ready to reach the surface.
Make sure you.
So, the surface, which we don't really get to experience before we get jumped. Oh, fuck it. Fuck, they jumped at me! I didn't really mind the surface too much. I definitely say I like the underground more. Anyways, there is a lot going on the surface. We encounter things such as tanks, helicopter, and you guessed it, more guards. But I must warn you to be careful when it comes to jumping on the top of tanks. You might get sent to the Shadow Realm. Ah, what the fuck? Oh, and we have mines too. Just to be short about this section, you have to navigate a minefield while dodging helicopter that circles the area. I would try to use the snark to trigger the mines, but that didn't go well. While having to navigate through the mines, we also have to dodge snipers. Thankfully you can kill them, but it's hard to land the perfect grenade. Further on, we have this epic fight where we need to use the rocket launcher to shoot down this helicopter. Did they kill themselves? Are you fucking for real? What the fuck just happened? What the fuck? Okay, never mind. Easy peasy. We also encountered this dude again. Having to run away from this thing again doesn't make it easier this time. We have some control system where I thought we needed to do was just blow it up. Apparently, we have to blow this radio tower and then blow up this wall to get past. Like, genuinely, how was I supposed to know that? A thing I was actually so excited to do was this part right here. Oh my god, I was so excited to drive a tank. Except, I wasn't able to, and I was just swarmed by enemies that got me killed too many times. But after finishing the tank part, we finally go into another facility called the Lambda facility. Which, if you didn't know, the Half-Life logo is actually called the Lambda. Bet you didn't know that one. That video was so funny. You should totally like and subscribe. Or else. In the Lambda facility, we have to complete several puzzles. Again, I don't think it should be a surprise that yet again another puzzle genuinely confused me. Now I would like to talk about one of the two last enemies. First up, we have the assassin. First of all, they go invisible and run away when they take even a scratch of damage. I literally had to use the same staircase method I did back in On Rail to kill them, since I barely actually got to kill them properly. After successfully activating all of the devices, we meet up with some scientists who gives us our final upgrade of the game, a long jump. The long jump is a crucial upgrade for us, and I mean, it's fun to just do jump slides. Our final challenge on the surface is to protect the scientists while they try to open a portal to Sen. It's easier said than done. While the scientist takes his sweet time figuring out how to open the portal and dying a few times, we are also introduced to a new enemy, the alien controller. The alien controller is just annoying. I would try to kill it, but it would always dodge my shots. Anyways, we successfully protect the scientist and we can finally head into Sen. Sen made me want to get addicted to substances. Even though I've been complaining throughout the entire video, I genuinely hated Sen the most. The place itself is actually pretty cool. I think it's super neat. But out of the gates, we gotta chase this weird ballsack creature. It's our first boss of Sen. Besides being quite slow, but shoot some weird white projectiles after us, this boss is like no other. We have to run after it. We follow it down this hole that was definitely bugged for me. It was supposed to go further and get stuck in this hole, but for me it kept on attacking me, so I was basically stuck here until the AI figured its shit out. After it goes down the hole, I definitely made the worst decision possible. I jumped down with the crab. While editing this, I actually figured out that it was almost impossible to stay up on the ledge. For some reason, the surface is super slippery and will guarantee that you end down in the hole. Also, the crab is the reason why head crabs exist. So one of its attacks is literally sending head crab fetuses after us, which they're so goddamn small I couldn't see them. Like, can you see them? And the next place is even worse. Being so low on HP after that fight, I basically got one shot by everything. What was a regular mission turned into a stealth one for me. This section, we gotta find this pillar, go up with it hoping that the vortigon's on the ground doesn't kill us on the spot. Climbing up to the top, I had no idea what to do. Having to dodge vortigons and controller aliens made me want to cry. Figuring how to climb down and through trial and error, trying to escape, I was finally able to get out of this place. The next place was nothing really of note. except this guy. And then we reached the factory. I mean, I think it is. The factory brought me pain. The only thing that didn't make me feel sad was the healing pods throughout the level. In the previous level, there were these healing pools that I could chill out in and regain full HP as long as I could sit still for like a minute. I think that was the best thing about Zen. Navigating through the barrels and doing a bit of parkour and having to face the enemies. We finally reached the top. At the end, we end up in this dark place with the only thing of interest being this red ominous light. Stepping closer and touching the red light, we finally reach our goal. What the fuck is that? I have never ever been this pissed off from a boss. I don't know if it's just me having terrible motor skills, but something about this boss was so difficult for me. Around the boss room, there are these huge orange crystals that you have to destroy, which totally didn't take me ages to figure out what to do with them, even though it should have been obvious from the start. The boss has a couple of attacks that he uses. The green orb that sends you into another dimension, the white trypophobia room, and the flesh room that had vortigons and the fucking fish. This was quite literally hell.
Skippity toilet for your sex mod.
What? And it can also use hollow purple. Around the boss room, there are these jump pads where you can then jump onto the platforms where there are healing pods, which is so nice. Is what I would have said if I could fucking reach them. I have no idea what was wrong with them. Most of the time when I was trying to use the jump pads, they just never worked. I would either jump a measly 2 centimeters off the ground, or jump so high I was sent to the stratosphere and then land on the platform and break my femur and die. At this point in time, I was so confused of what I was supposed to do that I almost gave up. So I looked up a guide, which I then followed the guide 1-to-1 and I still failed. So to defeat the boss, you need to crack the skull open of the baby and then place multiple explosive rounds inside the head to have the baby die of an allergic reaction to gunpowder. I ended up having to cheese the boss at the end since I was so fucking done. At the end of the game, the G-Man greets us. I know I didn't mention it throughout the video, but randomly you can see the G-Man throughout the game, interacting with NPCs and just show up out of nowhere. I thought it was a nice touch to the game. The G-Man gives us a choice between joining him or going against him. I mean, I did not really care what ending I would get, so I would just load back and get the other ending. So throughout the entire game, I had saved 523 times. I roughly saved around 29 times per hour. Even though my own choices made me struggle immensely through Half-Life, it's an amazing game. I definitely say Valve cooked with this game. Speaking of cooking, look at this pancake I made. It has the logo.
You've proved yourself a decisive man, so I don't expect you'll have any trouble deciding what to do. Time to choose.
Oh hey, you made it to the end. Before this video really ends, I'd like to take a moment to yap a bit, more than I normally do. I know this video took some time to make, so here's some things that happened while I was gone from making videos. Oh my god! Caitlin!
I think it's okay. I just wanna win on the fucking.
Oh my god! Yes,
Whoa,
please,
what
please.
a coincidence.
Wait, where's the skin? Where's the skin? I can't find the skin. No! Oh my god! So no, I'm not doing anything. I'm just a friendly French person. Yeah, but I'm at 2 hearts. I can't go down.
That one has a
Wait, what was?
You can make
I
the
think
jump
I've
over to
seen
that
this one
lava
before.
spider.
What is this? Like little like.
Okay, yeah. YOLO!
I got a hammerhead.
What is that?
When I might take. What?
What? What happened?
So, from when I made my Blender video and up until now, I've been struggling a lot mentally. I thought of all those late nights trying to get myself to write something down was just me being lazy, but turns out it was depression and potentially also ADHD. Big surprise, right? A woman being obsessed with Ultra Kill is depressed and potentially has ADHD. Truly didn't see that one coming. But on a more serious note, I've been taking my medication for my depression and I think it's getting better even though I still feel the same. I don't think me taking medication will make my videos come out faster, but I hope this sort of gives an explanation why I'm so sparse with uploads and updates with what I'm doing. But that's honestly all I have to say for now. Hopefully I'll be able to release more videos next year, but we've all seen my uploading schedule. So I guess I'll see you later. Bye!